case we don't know who we are.
No identity crisis.
Who do you want to be tonight, Dave?
Is there a Donnie in there?
Well,
No.
Dave,
I didn't realize that was your job. I would have.
you know what? It's not really my job, but I enjoy doing it for everyone.
So, like, I don't have to be all shut up.
Joe even has. You can be Joe too.
Nice of you.
I don't know how to be anybody else.
Thank you.
Very kind.
And I did review your stuff. Yeah, something I rarely do. It might be wordy tonight. Yeah,
I knew I was cutting it close.
It's okay. We're like, oh,
not like
need
that.
us out here. That's good. All right, welcome to the August 19th, 2024 regular meeting of the Lyman Select Board. This meeting is a public proceeding and is being recorded. Everyone would join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we do not have any special offers or presentations tonight, so we will jump right into public input. Public in attendance will have up to 5 minutes to address the board. Please use the podium to address the board and please be respectful of others.
How's it going?
Good.
Hello.
Hello. This thing's right in your face, huh? Okay, my name's Josh Eon. I live at 146 Old Ben Davis Road. I represent one of the 13 families who reside on the road currently. Recently, as myself as well as a few residents who reside on the road have ran into one of you guys' foresters marking your parcels to be, I think, harvested. One of the two parcels, or both parcels, there's two parcels, one on Duke Lane and one on OBD. While speaking with the forester and Lindsay, the town manager, they had mentioned that the foresting operation will be utilizing OBD for access to the two parcels. Being that OBD is a private road and not public, it's all maintained and upkept by us, the 13 people that live on the road. We actually put quite a bit into the road, or as much as we can, I guess, from year to year. That entails replacing culverts, grading, etc., to a feasible point where you're not getting rattled as you drive down the road. With this being said, we, the residents at OBD, were wondering if it'd be possible to be placed on the next agenda. So we could basically, with the forester present, so that we can discuss a few different topics regarding the effort. Firstly, what steps we put in place so that the logging outfit is responsible for damages caused by this upcoming logging effort, and the repair of that damage. As you all know, that logging trucks are pretty heavy. Some of those culverts aren't even 12 inches down, and they're about probably 10 inches in diameter. Of course, we all installed them, so it's, we don't have, access to heavy equipment that you can place culverts at the proper depth. So, yeah. And then also, secondly, we'd also like to talk about like safety measures that are in place. So I know my two kids run up and down that road. My dog, neighbors' dogs. A lot of individuals who reside on the road, especially children, utilize that road from day to day. So these are just two of the questions. I know there was, like I said, there's another. I represent one family. My father and brother also live on the road. And there's another 10 families that reside on the road that had questions and whatnot. And it'd be good to have a discussion with the forester just to kind of put everybody at ease and kind of figure out, what the plan is. Make sure, like, if my kids are riding the golf cart down the road, they're not going to get, ran over by a logging truck, or, my neighbor's dogs are out on the road all the time. They're not going to get run over, or, the same thing with, the actual road itself. I mean, we do what we can to maintain the road. It's not the best road, but we do what we can. So that's all I wanted to ask. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Dave.
How are you?
I'll speak next, if you don't mind. And all I got to say is just add on what he said about the culverts. The culverts have never been brought up to town specs. That's why the culverts are not gonna stand the pressure. Town specs would be a lot different. And of just having the town does not maintain it. There's nobody there in the middle of the winter when the trees are all down and we're out there struggling, trying to cut the trees off the side. You know what it's like, Dave, at the end of your road. So we're all by ourselves and we're just not into the mood where I guess it's kind of I was there when my father cut the end of that road off 111 to get into that road. So that's kind of where we're at, but thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks. Other public comment?
I'm here for this one. I think it might be that one. She did.
We have,
Yeah.
you are,
Yeah. Yep, okay.
you're on it.
Yeah, we're on.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Good. We're good.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah,
How do we know if like we can get in front of you, like agenda wise?
yeah, we'll work with Lindsay, and
Okay.
Lindsay will communicate back to you
That
directly.
sounds good. Yeah, just because like I said, there's more people that was gonna come and
We
you
get
guys weren't aware of any of this, so I didn't want to we didn't want to crowd the room and confront you, not confront, but basically bring all this information to you guys and you're like, what?
it, and we
So-
appreciate that.
So,
Yes.
Thank you.
yeah,
No, that's
no
cool.
problem.
Awesome.
So just out of curiosity, Madam Chair, is there any particular date set for the harvesting of the timber there?
No.
No, okay. Thanks.
Any other public comment?
Excuse me, what did you say?
I was asking
Yeah,
if there
there's dates.
if there's a date for. the
Yeah, that's why
harvesting.
we're trying to be preemptive.
Mhm.
Before everything starts, we'd like to be preemptive. And I've heard that, foresters have insurance and stuff like that. Well, we don't want to go that far. We don't want to wait till the foresters come in and do something. Then 13 families have to try to stop fighting the insurance companies to get the road fixed. That's kind of where we're at. Thank you. Appreciate it.
We hear you, we're not,
No.
we're easy to get along with, I think.
Hey, no,
Vicky,
Most of the
you know how he is.
All good.
Just so you guys are aware, so currently the forester is just looking into all their questions. So I haven't heard any new information,
Okay.
and that's where we're at with that.
Okay.
So it's not being ignored or anything, like they're actually gonna go out there and look into it.
When it gets to that point where if you're in contact with the forester, would there be a good meeting night that you could come address these issues when it gets to that point?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just waiting for more information. I don't know what they're gonna come back with.
Okay.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, it's more or less just to make sure we're all on the same page and it's out there public, but also there's people on the road that don't have emails, that can't use email and they have questions and it's just trying to keep everything on the open.
No, I mean, you're protecting your investment, and I understand that.
Yeah,
And there's no harm in coming and
Yeah.
communicating,
no, definitely.
so
We
I'm
appreciate,
open to it.
we appreciate you guys listening.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Is there other public comment tonight? You guys are good. You're on the agenda somewhere else? Okay.
Yep, we are.
All right, so we'll continue on. I don't have any mail, which I'm not sad about, but we'll go with that.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Don't you want to stay for the rest of it?
I've had plenty of you.
All right, so we will jump to item number 3 for the minutes, review and approve meeting minutes from August 5th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a quick one on page 1. The autocorrect did a number on golf tree services. And it's
Okay.
listed there as Jeff. So,
Any other discussion on those? All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
I do have a question that dovetails off of the meeting minutes, because when I was reviewing them, I saw the thing, and I had spoken about some issues and said I wanted to go to a comprehensive plan meeting. And, I gotta find out when those are. It would have been a good time to ask, I think.
It's the
Okay.
second and fourth Thursday. But I don't know if you guys are doing it this
We're not
week.
gonna be meeting this coming Thursday because we finally got a meeting with I'll just say it real quick. Sorry, guys. So we were kind of at a standstill until we with Southern Maine Planning, and they finally have some stuff ready for us. So, they're meeting with us the September 10th? 12th. September 12th is our next comprehensive plan meeting.
Okay.
The one end of this
Okay.
month, we're not gonna have because we don't have anything we can proceed with.
Because the first Thursday. Oh, never mind, not the.
Yeah, so it'll be the first,
Somehow,
it'll be the
now
first
this is good if it's the
Thursday, the
second and
12th.
fourth.
Yeah, that
Okay.
one with Southern Maine Planning, because we're doing a joint with ORC, so we all need the same data. So two birds, one stone, and try to save some money by having them kind of compile it
Good idea.
together. So that's the plan, is them to come and download on us.
Thank you.
So 6 o'clock?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's
Thank
good.
It's all my,
All right. So that was the minutes. We will jump to payroll warrants. Payroll warrant number 7 in the amount of $28,436.35.
so moved.
Second?
Any discussion on that?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Accounts payable warrant number 54 from FY '24 in the amount of $30,081.14.
So. I'll move that, but I do have some questions for discussion.
I'll second.
Discussion.
The tree work for Jackson's Tree Service and the $7,000 for Tinker Tom, is that for the FEMA cleanup? I want to say because Jackson's Tree did work on, did trees on Clark's Woods Road. I know there was a lot of hangers there.
Mhm.
I'm assuming that it is, but I wanted to ask if that was the FEMA work, that's the stuff we had to put in for the
No.
reimbursement.
Nope, because we're all done with putting in for that. So I believe we took out dead trees out of Bunganut because they're gonna fall down anyways. And then somebody mentioned trees hanging over Brock Road.
Yep.
And I think somebody mentioned trees hanging over Huff Road. So there were a couple calls of just trees hanging in the roadways, just,
I think I
Yeah.
said something about the Broker Road stuff. when
Okay.
I was down in there.
and I don't know 100% whether I can go grab hook holders, but
This
I'm,
one says Fry's Bridge and
And Clarkson's.
okay.
So it's just curiosity in the, I didn't know if the $7,000 for Tinker Tom's work dovetailed off any of that. Didn't know if they worked together. I didn't expect it. It's left over from last fiscal year, so.
Looks like roads.
Walker Road.
No, it's basically like stuff we've encumbered from last fiscal year, so it's probably something he was working on scheduling a contractor, but a lot of times they're booked out.
Okay.
And we typically don't pay them until the work is done, so.
Any other discussion on that one? All in favor?
Aye.
Jumping to accounts payable warrant number 6 for fiscal year '25 in the amount of $135,034.66.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on that one?
For Eco Maine this
Mhm.
month, $15,818.43 in MSW.
I noticed the cost for recycling hauling from CIA was up. So that made me think maybe there was more recycling.
Yeah, I mean, it looks just by the amount, but it also looks like it's like trash go up. Waiting for it to even out.
Someday, you're gonna get.
Someday, I will.
Someday. Sing it.
Any other discussion on that one? All in favor?
Aye.
We'll go on to unfinished business, franchise agreement. Nothing.
Tony is working on updating the franchise since the new laws went into effect, so I'm just waiting to hear from him.
Item number 5E, discussion on the November referendum, for scheduled public hearing. And then we also have the cemetery committee line item.
Yeah,
that
so-
they talked to us last week about.
Yep, these are all the questions Brad looked over and did them up. So this is kind of like your last chance if you want to add or remove anything. There is later on the agenda a request for consideration as well. So I need to know tonight, where do you guys want to add or remove?
Well, so I think we have to discuss the cemetery committee, because I know they presented to us last meeting, and then we said that we would talk about it further today,
Yep.
so.
Well, I got plenty to talk about.
Would you like to start us off?
Could I?
How about it?
I think I've had time. See, I am a processor, as some of you know, and really after that meeting, was feeling quite unsettled about it. And then we got some emails, very compelling reasons that were going along with pretty much what I was thinking. I feel like board in the past let them set a bad precedent. And we have a budget process, and I don't feel like it's an emergency. And I think I love the cemetery committee and everything they do. This is not anything personal against them, although I think that they should go through the proper budget channels. And I remember, I thought back as I was thinking about all this stuff, that in the past, when that $60,000 was raised, there was gonna be money from tree removal that was gonna come back to reimburse the town somewhat for that, and that the $60,000 would cover everything.
I think it was a sale of lot, but I remember the
It's
same,
Something like that.
I remember the same thing, that
Okay.
the 60,000 was going to cover everything.
And-
I didn't
and
look
so-
it up, but
And I'm not saying there's not $50,000 more of tree work to do, but we'll go through the budget process. I also feel like a former board may have abdicated their authority by allowing that $60,000 to be overseen by that committee. We have a bid process that's spelled out in the charter, and I think it's time to reel this stuff back in, because we're not doing the townspeople any good service passing this out, and other committees might decide to come along and try to do the same thing, in which I have down in my notes that I would say that's a hard no for all of those requests. Because if we do one, we gotta do them all. We have a budget process for a reason, and I think we should follow it.
here.
I would just second everything you just said.
Yeah.
Agree with you.
And, if I,
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Lindsay, for digging this up. Here's the wording of the original article. To see if the town will vote to appropriate $60,000 in surplus for the purpose of cemetery tree removal and trimming to be offset by sale of town land. So, I think that's-
Okay, that was,
Yeah.
nice.
Unfortunately, what happened was we had several complaints saying that we weren't being transparent, which threw the whole study into, let's wait until, 5 months from now when the town meetings come, and we'll take a vote then. And so that basically put the study on ice for almost a year.
Yeah, there's a lot
So-
of contention about real estate
Yeah.
broker, and so everything got
So
put on
that would have been
hold.
done if that didn't happen.
Great.
But
Well, but
Alright,
to
we-
Vicky's point, and just to,
unfortunately, now that the law has changed, we're going to have to do even more diligence to see what we can sell, if we can sell, and if we do sell, who gets the proceeds.
well, just back to Vicky's point too about our purchasing procedures, right? We shouldn't be getting like purchase order, like 10 purchase orders in one night for, I think it was like 9,999, like,
Really, yeah.
it's crazy. So-
I think-
Or whatever, sorry.
Right under that.
Sorry, that 10,000 is my
Yeah,
work number. I knew it was right at the number.
$49.99.
whatever it was.
So
And it just, it's too, it's,
I remember too, in the past, there was some issues with, what we talked about last meeting, there was issues with the first person that was doing some tree work about certain things that weren't being finished or cleaned up, and I just think we need to reel all that stuff in. we have a job to oversee, and it's up to us to oversee some things, so. That's all.
Yeah.
It's not a slam on the cemetery committee whatsoever. I
No,
love the
no.
cemetery committee. I think those people work hard for us, and I appreciate that. I don't think I could say that enough.
So they presented something to us and asked us to consider it. We've now discussed and considered. I think the consensus is we agree that we don't want to put that on the referendum, so I don't know that we need to do a motion.
Take
Yeah,
a
you don't
motion
need to.
that we remove
Um,
Article 10 from the special town meeting
This is
referendum
Yeah, this
for
is just a
November 5th.
draft. But like what I'll
2024.
do, sorry, Vicky,
It's all right, I'm just saying, I'll make that a motion
you want to
Take
make
it
it a
off.
motion?
to take it off.
Okay,
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
okay. So basically what I'll do is I'll just reach out to them, tell them, you guys considered it and you'd rather see them go through the budgetary process
We're just
and
starting before we know it.
It is, and
yes, which is
we're not
this is
really
great
gonna-
timing.
I didn't think we were really gonna gain any time from that,
Mhm.
really, either.
And that they could do an RFP. If they did RFP now, we'd start collecting data on how much it's gonna cost.
Agreed.
And I think one of those emails had a link for a potential grant for some of that tree work. I didn't bring a copy of that with me, but it's in my,
Yeah, I think I looked at that one too, and I think that the only problem was it had to be in 501c3.
oh,
I don't-
okay, I didn't see
Yeah,
that
I
part of
think it
it.
had to be a nonprofit
I think the
organization.
biggest thing is not doing it, like, we shouldn't be breaking it down. If you're asking for that one lump sum, that alone rises to like a bit, like, we should be getting a bit for this. We shouldn't be just saying, oh, it's this one cemetery and it's
Yeah.
4,000 and this one's 4,000, this one's 4,000. It doesn't mean that the current person that's doing that work won't get that. It's very likely that they would.
Well, I
It's
understand
just
why
the right
that
thing
was,
to do.
brought forward outside of the budget cycle, but
Yeah.
not again. But anyway, we took care of it, so.
Okay, so then now back to, so that piece of that referendum conversation is taken care of. I see you have some highlights over there.
Yes. Where it says copies of the text of the proposed amendments are available at the town clerk's office, can we have that text put on there? Being a worker out there, when they come out and they're like, I would like to read this before I go in.
The answer is no. So if the text is like so encumbersome, then it can be a separate thing. So what that language is out of state statute that it says it's, you can get it from the town clerk's office because the state statute says it has to indicate that. However, it's going to be on our website. There will probably be a QR code if you want to pull it up on your phone. You can get it at the clerk's office. You can ask me for it. But basically, like some of the stuff, like say, for instance, the floodplain management, that's like a 40-page document. So I can't put a 40-page document in a question. It has to be a very, like per law, it has to be like a yes or no question. So what ends up happening is, and so once you get into the voting area, we cannot answer any questions. We can't do anything with the voter. If they come to us and they're like, well, what about this? Too late.
Yeah.
You're not leaving the guardrail area. You got to make your decision now. So all the information gets put outside of the voting area. And unfortunately, people don't always take the opportunity to look at it. Even when we say, hey, the information's right
Yeah.
there, they go, and they move on. That's their choice.
Yep.
Okay.
But definitely the information is going to be available. You guys are going to, actually, ORC is doing 3 public hearings, and then you guys are going to have to do a public hearing. So there's a lot of information out there. But yeah, unfortunately, the way the law is written, like the text of the question has to be, one or the other.
Okay.
If the change was so minimal, like if it was just a
That-
little
yeah.
blurb,
Yeah.
I could put it in there, but
Yeah.
some of it is extensive.
Yeah. Okay. I just thought like like I said, I just knew like
It's like almost
both
every
sides of it, so I
Yeah.
just thought I would ask to see. So no, that was a great explanation. Thank you.
Is that information available to look at when people come to request the absentee ballots?
Yeah. Yeah, it's available on our website. So right now, if you're requesting the absentee ballots, like that you're filling out the request, we don't have any ballots available. They won't be available until the 30th. you know, and you cannot influence a voter. So election workers like myself, Sue, these guys who work the election, they cannot, so I can't be like, oh, you're applying to get your ballot. Oh, by the way, here's what you need to go look up for information. I'm not really allowed to do that.
Hey,
The
people,
voter-
do your homework.
Yeah, the voters have to
Online.
vote independently.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
we do our best, the information, like eventually I'll start doing, like, once we finalize a lot of this stuff, like I'll start making QR codes and flyers, and there's only so much I can do to
Yeah.
put it out there for everyone.
No, I wanna look at it myself, that's why I asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go on our website under the posts, it's a couple links down, but there's a whole page and it's all of the stuff that they're working on. But as far as this other stuff, no.
Nice, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts,
Okay.
comments on referendum?
I don't think it's
Well,
good.
Becca, I know ARC had a public hearing last Thursday. Have you set the date for the subsequent public hearing yet?
We have not. I actually have questions for Lindsay before I do.
Thank you.
And then you guys want to schedule a public hearing.
Obviously, we want to schedule a public. hearing.
Okay, good. Who has the time there?
And let's-
Bring the right one.
Yeah, I did, but. Oh, I'm stuck into there.
Oh,
I almost launched the whole table just now. That would have been really interesting.
oh, sorry.
Everything's
It would have been.
Everything's on camera now, man.
I know. That would have been really sweet.
It lives forever.
No, that would have been one for the books.
Let's see. So for October, we have what, the 1st and the 15th, oh, sorry, no, I'm looking, 7th and the 21st would be our meetings.
For October, eh?
Mhm.
Look at that, open right up to it. Seven and 21, isn't it?
Um,
I'll be out of town on the 7th. Obviously, it doesn't mean you can't have have it, no.
The earlier of the 2 dates?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Gives people time to ideally go look things up. Does the 7th work for everyone else?
You want to do October 7th, and that is not a holiday. Okay,
No, the 14th is,
that's a holiday. Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Formerly known as Columbus Day.
That's so 6 of your regular meeting. Public hearing.
Would the public hearing be at 6 with the regular meeting right after?
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So typically, like, you guys just do a public hearing on the warrant questions. I know that ORC is doing their public hearings. They can be involved in this if they want to. I don't know if they have to.
When, you don't know when yours is, because you gotta ask her.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask
Okay.
them if it was October 8th that we had to have them done by. I was gonna send out an email and yeah, but I was just gonna send out an email, do one in September and one in October, was kind of the consensus of the committee.
Is
So,
it possible to piggyback them?
I was gonna say, I think if you join in on ours, that can count as
Yeah.
one.
I think that sounds good.
That'd be awesome.
See you October 7th. Any other discussion on the referendum?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Yes.
So I just ask for patience on this. On the handout that we have, it reads a special town meeting referenda, Article 1 to choose a moderator. These questions will be posed to the voters on a printed ballot on election day, correct?
Okay,
Yes.
so the way that town meetings work is 30A, you have a moderator. So what happens is the moderator gets voted on the floor. So that won't even be a question of the ballot, if that's what you're asking, I'm not sure. So that it says in the warrant, once I draft the warrant, it'll be like Article 1 to take place like 10, if the what is it, the election's at 8 a.m., so voting, the moderator will be at 7:50. That happens by written ballot on the floor, and then basically the warrant will say, and then to act on Articles 2 through X by secret ballot.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
It's all,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
It's, yeah.
Okay, so all we're doing here is just verifying these questions and then the actual ballot gets written up based on these.
Yes, yeah, and I just wanted to let you guys know, like, this is your last call to like
Yep.
add, remove, and all that stuff, so.
Okay. Is everybody good with that?
Set to let it ride,
Yeah, one
yeah.
more.
Yeah, one more technical question. I'm sorry, posing
You're
mainly to Peg. On Article 4, it refers to the shoreline zoning, Section 15, subsection B2. Now, this is adding the ADU language there, but not eliminating the language that's already there.
I don't have copies of it right in front of me.
I have one right here.
Okay. Oh, perfect.
If you just look into that, I'd appreciate it, because in that particular section, there's the 35-foot height regulation. And my assumption is that the ADU language would piggyback onto that, not replace it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's however it's written, so there's some strikeouts and underlines.
Mhm.
I just don't have it in
Article
front of me.
4.
Oh, let's see.
Well, that's gonna show up as 3, I think.
Article 4 is flag.
No, it's gonna be 3.
Okay.
Shoreline zone.
It was in the draft form, it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Article
draft
4.
one.
My apologies if
You're good.
It's all right.
just check that out against the actual regulation to see
Yep.
how it fits in. Thank you.
Anything else on that item? Good. All right. Okay, we will move on to item number 6. We have department and committee reports. Fire chief had emailed his all hands report earlier today.
Yep.
Any fire commission updates today?
We're going back to we've been off schedule
Okay.
with the meetings so far, so they've been kind of pushed, but we're going back to in September. It's the first Thursday, which is the 5th.
Okay.
So I did go over last week and approve warrants, AP and the payroll, and they're very similar
Yeah.
to ours, so but it's starting to make sense, so that's good. That's good there.
That's a
At least I understand that stuff, so.
Awesome. All right. And then we have the treasurer's expense report. Take theirs with them, they can. So item number 7, new business. Item A, discussion RFP for equalization project and updating the assessing tables.
So,
We talked about this during budget time. right?
well, that and town meeting,
Yeah.
so Lori drafted this up as a scope of work, and then what I'll do is like create the actual RFP template.
Mhm.
But I will need to know, like, when do you guys want to open the RFP? And so I think the idea is collecting bids now for your budget process. So, we can start putting it out there whenever and have it linger around for a while. And then I imagine you'll start budgeting, working on your budget workshops like January. And then we still have to ask for appropriation of funds the next town meeting, and the work should begin July 1 of 2025.
I feel like we just did this.
We talked about all the details of how we would do this.
Yeah.
During budget time.
Yeah, I
We
believe,
thought it'd be like a
Yeah.
phased-in process.
Right. But it's like, wow. But when you see it right in front of you, it's like, smoked. But yeah, I read this, I went over the.
yeah, this is like, so it's one step because our assessing tables are kind of out of date. So she wants to get those up to date, and somebody would come in and basically update our assessing tables. And then that hopefully will prepare her for doing a revaluation, because we are going to fall below that 70% line. I think she said by like FY 27, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So it's just kind of all in the works of like planning the goal for the next couple of years.
So you need from us like a timeline of when we want it to open?
Yeah, when do you want to open? I mean, if you were thinking, like I'll put in the RFP, work to begin July 2025 through April 2025, so they understand. And that has to be appropriate, pending appropriations of town funds and stuff like that.
20,
Six.
Yeah.
July 24 for April 25, or July 25 for April?
July 25 is FY 26.
Correct.
Whatever she put down here. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, July, she said the goal is to accomplish an effective assessment date of April 1, 2026. So yeah, it would be July 25 to April 26.
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah, the FY, the fiscal years always get thrown us off.
Great. It does that.
Yeah, but yeah, I'll add that detail in there. So I don't know if we want to, we can start putting it out now unless you think it's too soon.
It's kind of
Feel
a,
soon, but I don't.
I mean, at
think
the
part
same-
of it is so that we have the data to budget for next year too, right?
Right. And then a lot of these places too, I think, they're kind of booking out ahead.
that's what I was just gonna say.
Like the
that
lead
it's
time on
probably
it.
Specific,
Yeah.
so it's only certain companies are gonna,
Mhm.
and it is also a thing in here, that they have to be, is this the one with they gotta, have experience at doing
Yeah.
it? And
Yep.
have done it, so that makes,
Yeah.
So maybe like October 21st, that lets it kind of roll out there maybe for a month and a half.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
Everybody feel okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the year that we need a complete reeval? The 29?
No, I think she said
30.
FY 27.
Hmm.
I have to go back and ask Lori.
I
when
thought it was
did-
every 10 years.
What you're talking about two different things.
Right.
I think you're talking about getting us fully back to that percentage with our own
Like-
internal
Like a
stuff.
baseline, yeah.
You're talking about
I'm talking about
the
the whole,
nightmare that we went
the
through.
nightmare.
before.
yeah.
We're not-
I think
We don't have to do that
30.
for a little
I think
bit.
30, yeah.
Because we were right in the middle of COVID when they were
Yeah.
already had started it,
Yeah.
and then
Because they came
COVID shut
to
it.
the house.
Well, that's
Yeah,
right.
COVID shut it down, so I think it would be 30. Because they didn't even finish it until 21, 22 maybe.
Yeah,
That's right.
all right. Next up, Joe Wagner for the AARP Age Friendly Program. He had shared some data before the meeting.
Sorry, could you just back up to the previous one?
Oh,
Are
yeah,
we
sorry.
are releasing the RFP on October 21?
No.
No, that's-
I'll-
Same with a due date.
Put it-
Very
yeah.
good, okay. And any ballpark guesstimate as to what this may cost?
I want to say like 90,000. So when we came up with a plan, it was based off of Lori talked to other municipalities who have done a similar update, and I want to say I don't know exactly. It might have been around 90,000. So we had already had like 25,000. We appropriated, what was it 37
35
or 35 or
like
something like that, and then we would appropriate like another 35 and try to make up for about 90. But also depending on where your bids land too, they might
that. Right.
Yeah,
come
We
in
might
higher
have to-
numbers and you'll have to go back and
that's why
budget,
it's good to
but
do
yeah.
this now.
yeah.
Mhm.
Another reason.
Thank you.
All right, AARP,
All right.
let's go.
Everyone received that handout that I put together on the program for age-friendly community designation.
Yeah.
I asked everyone to take a look at those key questions because those are exactly the ones that are on the membership application. I've been in contact with Patricia O. She works at University of Maine Arno on the aging agency there. She's agreed to take a look at what we submit in advance before we send it to AARP. There's a Steve Morelli, I believe, that also works at AARP that can help us with demographics. As you can see if you go to the membership application, I don't know if we got it in
Yeah.
here. Yep, there we do. as I think I said before at the workshop, it's not asking for a whole lot of demographic data, not too much in the way of quantitative material, more qualitative. What they do ask in terms of demographics is total population. And based on the 2020 census, we have 4,525. Our median age is 52.7. 24.4% of the population in Lyman was over 65 at that time. I did find some updated information from a website entitled World Population Review. I'm uncertain about the reliability of that, so I'm a bit reluctant to base anything on that. But nonetheless,
Was it much different?
it updates it to this year and sets our town's population of 4,680, saying that we have had an increase of about 3.5% since the beginning of the decade. So, and we've got about 115 folks per square mile, which I think qualifies us as rural. Before this, I looked some time back in terms of what exactly is the definition of rural, and there is no one yardstick that I could find. So I think if you look around, it's like, okay, rural.
Self-proclaimed.
Mhm. Let me see. So what I was asking for was from the other board members and from the general public, some input on those essential questions that they ask. I could consolidate all that, we could review that, and then submit that. Ms. Kane contacted me earlier, and we'll be getting together tomorrow to take a look at some of the potential responses that we could put together on these questions. And I don't think it necessarily requires us to rush by any means, but there is a meeting of the members throughout the state in Portland at their AARP headquarters on September 19th. So maybe potential members might be able to attend as well.
Have you put any thoughts into like, I know it's probably a year or two down the road, but like once you sign up for membership, there's a whole cycle of like developing a survey and then an
Yeah.
action plan, and it looks kind of in depth. I don't know if you've put any thoughts or ideas into that.
Indeed, I think it dovetails what the comprehensive plan is putting together at this point. And thank you for getting this to everybody as well. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps involved. 6 steps. It is an ongoing process, which is, I think, healthy.
You want to speak there?
I was fairly surprised by the amount of towns that are involved in this already, that transportation was their number one, something that never occurred to me.
The comprehensive plan won't have anything usable for the AARP like this, because this is all elder based, and the comp's like the whole town. So we're not collecting data for elder services or programs, comprehensives for the entire town. So I don't know how much data we'd have for you. That's something that we were looking at AARP for Bunganut, because we want to be able to have access to the parks for the elderly in the town, and hopefully Parks and Rec can start having programs for elderly, because right now we don't have anything. But like comprehensive, I don't know if there I can't think of. You can speak, but I can't think of any data that we're pulling for
Well,
elderly.
all the things that you do address housing and transportation. Those are two of the domains of livability as defined by the AARP. Just saying that.
But not specific just to elder, no.
No,
Yeah.
actually, again, starts with questions with respect to what we do for the older population, but it does broaden into what we do for other age cohorts as well. For example, I was thinking of mentioning what the Parks and Rec does, library. Let me see here. Cooperation with other municipalities. Again, the library, the Winds Mills Fire Department.
Yep.
I think a strong undercurrent in this is the notion of synthesis and integration, that agencies, committees should be working in tandem with one another, being aware of what each other is doing and being supportive of each other as opposed to being in compartments. So,
There was a, oh, you can go ahead.
I was just gonna say that perhaps, have you looked at our comprehensive data that the comp plan has received?
went through it once already, and highly specific. And again, what they're asking for here is more narrative than numbers.
It is, and some of that data suggests that the majority of our population, yes, it right now is up to like 55 years old.
Mhm.
But in the next 10 years, the data states that our population of 65 and older is going to double.
Mhm.
And
Right.
that's
I won't feel so alone.
it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
I'm never busting 55, never.
I didn't include it in the packet because it was kind of extensive, but if you go on the AARP website, they do provide a sample survey that they recommend. So they recommend pooling a lot of information from your citizens, not necessarily just statistical data, but kind of a combination of both. And the survey that they set up for a sample is pretty extensive. It was several pages long, but we could come up with our own if we wanted to.
Mhm.
So, yeah, there's.
Yeah.
It's-
But the one concern about the survey is, I don't think we're necessarily under a time constraint here.
Mhm.
But with the survey situation, that does kind of elongate it a bit. I'd like to contact the AERP folks to say exactly, how much of a specificity do you really need for considering our membership?
Right.
Yeah, and I think for me, like I wouldn't want to like jump into enrollment unless we were prepared to like continue the year 1, year 2, year 3.
Mhm.
So, it says here like year 1, conduct a community needs assessment, and then year 2, develop an action plan, and year 3, implement an action plan and track progress. And then I think by year 3, if you've done all these steps, you can renew your membership. So it's just like, I just want to make sure that I think getting the membership part will be easy, and then the work really comes after that. But
Well, I
yeah,
think some of that work would, in my opinion, be a committee, right? We're not gonna be
Mhm.
like, hey, Joe.
Yeah, I do.
See you.
Yeah.
Like,
What Michelle's doing.
Because after
I think
year
at that
3, you'd have to
point-
run for reelection.
I would envision this as, we get enrolled and then we see a committee. for it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would- Another thing that struck me when I read through this too is that Saco made some of the beach accessible with wheelchair and whatnot. And I thought that was pretty cool. Said well done in my notes. Well done, Saco.
Yeah.
Showed
One
up.
thing we could
Well, like, that's-
mention is the accessibility that Kennebunk Pond Beach now has with the ramp there.
Yes, and I did see somebody in a wheelchair on the beach.
Did
one day
you?
when I was driving.
Awesome.
by. And I was just like,
Did you honk it?
I did not honk it because I didn't want to scare anybody to death, but I just thought that was like very nice that
Sorry.
they were using it. It was great, so.
Okay.
Okay, so
So-
essentially if people have feedback on those
Yeah, if you-
narrative type
yeah,
questions, we can
just
send
ask
that.
other members if you wouldn't mind sending me some ideas in response to each of the principal questions of the application. So get together with Karen as well and do some additional narrative. Let me see. Jessica, one thing they do request is a letter of commitment, and got some models for that from the highest elected official in the town. So that would be you. And they do ask for, I say this with some degree of trepidation, a community contact.
But yeah, I was looking at that. Well,
so other communities, everyone does it differently, but like if you have a seated committee, sometimes it's that person or chairperson or whatever.
Okay.
But maybe give some thought to creating an ad hoc committee on age-friendly communities,
Yeah.
something like that.
Do you have a suggestion?
Sure.
Super cool way to reach a lot of people fast is the upcoming election. If someone had a table out back as people exit
Yeah.
regarding a survey you can hand out or
There you go.
QR code explaining the town is looking to try to increase our activities for the elderly in our town, and if they would like to partake in the survey, because they might do it real quick there, or QR code it and do it on the way home, or that's the perfect way to reach most of the town.
Yeah.
It's a large.
We define elderly.
I like a
Yeah.
veteran, seasoned.
Curious, is it 55, is it
Well,
60?
on this one, they're asking for over 65.
I think it would include caregivers as well. though.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
You can join AARP at 18. You don't have to be 50.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't
You
know
just
that.
start getting
I waited until I
mail.
was 50.
I've been an AARP member for a few years now, and I am not yet 50.
I was 55 when I started throwing those envelopes away. I mean, put them in the
They
recycling.
give good discounts.
Right.
Okay.
All right,
They do good stuff. That's good. Good stuff, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you.
absolutely. Item C, we have, the fire department, we've got a request for approval of funds for ply movement installation.
Mhm.
Limo vent.
Ply movement,
It's
sorry,
a
my bad.
I'll make a,
facility system that removes the diesel exhaust from the apparatus bay when the trucks are started inside.
That sounds like a very important.
It is a very important piece of
Carbon
equipment.
Did I hear something at that? end of the
I'll make a
table?
motion to approve the expenditure in the amount of $1,250 out of the GMFR Capital Building Reserve Fund for repairs to the Lima event. Thank you.
Okay. All
Any
right.
discussion?
You gotta put the thank you in there.
Lindsay's gonna make sure that thank you gets in there.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right,
We've got D, committees, request for funds on the November ballot.
Would you like us to stand up and say it so you can shoot us down?
I don't feel like we
We
need
don't need
to
to present.
spend time if you all feel comfortable rescinding your request.
Rescinding our-
I do just want to say a couple things though.
Sure.
We had, and Joe was a good segue to this actually. Ordinance Review Committee, I know you all know that we've had a little problem with the ORC, we've had our drama and all that. We're on a good path right now, I feel. We got the 5 articles going to ballot, but now it's kind of time to go back and start at the beginning. And it's really hard to make these two committees work together. The zoning ordinance follows the comprehensive plan. So if the comprehensive plan is going to change, the zoning ordinance has to change after the comprehensive plan. So that, Lee J. Feldman, who is no longer at SMPDC, he's like, really got to start there, comprehensive plan. So ordinance review is gonna, I think, kind of take a nap, basically, until at least comprehensive plan gets a little bit ahead. And I know you guys said no more money, but what I really wanted to just say was one of the things that they sent us for our data, we got the data to support our comprehensive plan. This is the criteria for the comprehensive plan that we have to meet. And I actually copied one page in here for you guys, and if you could just kind of look at that and pass that down. One of the things, it's a really kind of big deal. And Michelle and I have been going back and forth, who has what money kind of thing, And I think it was ultimately, 3,000 that comp got, was it? You told me it was 3,000 for comprehensive plan. That's what we have to give to SMPDC, which just really is not a lot of money. Ordinance Review Committee has 7,500, and Michelle and I were thinking we'd ask about the possibility of combining those two. But at the end of the day, SMPDC is going to need more money. And these two documents are really important documents for our town. And they're just not talking to each other, nor is the zoning ordinance talking to the subdivision, which is even further kind of a big deal. You kind of go into a rabbit hole when you start looking at that comprehensive data, and you realize that there's a lot to this. These documents don't suit the needs of our community anymore. It's the bottom line, they don't. the demographic data that you were talking about our elderly, it's a really big deal because in the next 10 years, our elderly population is gonna explode. And identifying areas where we could have elderly care, facilities, anything, buildings, development, anything is really, really important. And then if we have the comprehensive plan that is done this way to this criteria, we get a bunch of cool grants and stuff where we can make sidewalks for the elderly in those areas. But we're just lay people. We can't identify areas that are good for growth or elderly or anything like that. So, I think that, I know you guys said no more money, we're gonna rescind the thing, but I really hope you guys would at least consider, if we get rolling along with SMPDC or whatever, maybe giving a little bit bigger of a budget next time because
Yeah, I think, I just want to clarify, I personally am not saying no more money, we're just saying follow the right process.
Yeah.
Right.
Right,
go through the
budget season.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and I understand that, you guys.
Very open to hearing
Yeah.
that,
Yeah,
We weren't
for sure.
given the
That's
amount until after budget season, so that's
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Madam Chair,
Did you guys get a questionnaire?
hey, just a quick one. I do acknowledge
I did.
readily
Yeah.
the connection between comprehensive plan and ORC. But I was just thinking that some work could still be done on the zoning ordinance in the sense of making sure the land use table, the expressions there, categories there, do match up with the definitions, because we know that that isn't always the case. And between the definitions and the land use table, there's this one section, I think it's section 5, that to me is kind of extraneous. It's just a rehash of what is in the land use table. So I'm saying that some editing, some identification of specific sections of the land, of the zoning ordinance can be by the committee identified for at least further investigation, further discussion.
right, and I think that's one of the things that we keep getting caught up on, to be honest with you, because one of our articles is to remove contract zoning. And we decided to remove that in favor of looking at the land use chart and seeing where we could put some more stuff in or take some stuff out. But if we were to add zones or take away zones or anything like that, that changes the land use chart. So you really have to start with page 1, which is our zoning map. And then you look at the zoning map and you say, well, we have so many non-conforming lots. If we added zones, we wouldn't have as many non-conforming lots like the village. That's a residential district. There ain't no 3-acre lots over there. So we need a village district. But you got to change your map. And we're not planners. We can't say, hey, let's just kind of put a circle on the map. This looks like a great village area. So, those are the kind of things that we need the planner's help for. But then you go to the planner and the planner says, well, you're going to start with the comprehensive plan.
Right.
So, it's kind of like a trickle down effect where, even if we do look at the very basic stuff in the ordinance, there's sections of our zoning ordinance that refer to sections that aren't there.
That's right.
Literally, literally.
Wow.
So, if we start back at the beginning, by the time comprehensive plan's done, we're gonna have to go back to the beginning and start over. So, we're just kind of treading water. We're like cats chasing our tails right now. I've been doing it for 2 years with ORC. Now we're doing it with comprehensive plan because we just need the help of those planners. And it might not be SMPDC all the time, I don't know. But
Okay.
it's gonna boil down to money, unfortunately.
Well, but there is statute requirements that you review and update every so often on these things,
Every
right?
10
Or at least on the comprehensive plan, I know there
Yeah,
is,
just
so.
comprehensive.
That's
we're
what
kind of
this is.
stuck.
Right,
That
that's
we,
what
it's,
this
it's
is.
an unfunded mandate that we're gonna have to pay for, that's
Exactly, unfortunately.
in that,
Mhm.
before budget season, we'll have to figure out what it is.
How
I
much it's
think,
gonna
I
cost.
think in the end, like for Peg's point, I think
in the end, it might be a crossover between ORC and comprehensive plan, that maybe ORC asks for certain things to be done by Southern Maine Planning, because they have a bigger budget, but it benefits comp, because we literally both need the same data.
And she needs the money before ORC needs the money because it's gonna.
So that's probably a Jeanette question,
That's a
how this
Jeanette
works.
question.
But it's dual data for both, we both need the same data,
Then
but,
Jeanette.
it makes sense that it could come out of either budget depending on. who
but I'll
we
ask Jeanette and Lindsay and have this conversation with her, because I know there's the way things are done, but that's kind of where we're at, is where we need the data. They're able to get more data than we can, it's the same data.
And we don't want to, I don't want to make it sound to anybody that's listening, or even you guys, that we've had this discussion several times. Dave's on both committees, so we've all talked about this. We don't want to just say, here, write us a comp plan, or here, fix our zoning ordinance. We want to do the legwork, but we need that input from SMPDC or any planner to just say, this is what we think y'all should do. You guys are a town of 4,600 now. This doesn't match that anymore.
Right.
We were also talking, I didn't hear any numbers. We were talking about $36,000, weren't we?
They sent us, I think, a quote for 30,000. Well, unfortunately, what happened was our first quote that was sent to us was $10,000. So we didn't think it was gonna be a big deal.
Yeah.
After someone left the agency, she's like, yikes, he tries to be really gracious, and it's really $30,000. So that's what happened. And that was after the fact. We were already through budget season. We had already set aside what we thought we would need to get started,
Yeah,
and it just turned into that.
Vicki, you just said that it's an unfunded mandate.
kind of is. If we are by law, state law, have to update these things and it's costing us
We're
money.
out of that cycle
order to
right
do
now,
that.
though.
It's,
We seeded, so we did our comp
Yep.
plan in 2019.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we seeded one because of
Okay.
I mean, what happens if you don't update it is you just won't qualify for some grants or funding, and, it won't be like the state's gonna come down on you, we'll just lose out on some opportunities.
yeah,
But if it's an unfunded mandate, isn't the state required to reimburse the municipality at a percentage?
Well, I mean, so no, because like, if you didn't update it, the state's not gonna force you to update it.
penalize you.
They're not gonna penalize you or force you.
But if you do update it and you spend that money, then we could go back to them to say, this is what you said.
You can certainly try. I mean, they're definitely balking at the LD 2003
Yeah, she's trying.
reimbursement. I mean, they don't want to pay $700.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
have
If
fun.
I may? When would we need some money to move Southern Maine along?
I think that's a Jeanette question. And I think we
question with what we have right now. I mean, did Holly can come and say, hi, nice to see you, for the $3,000 we have for ORC. I can contact Jeanette tomorrow and get an answer. I'll talk to her tomorrow.
So is that something I know time is dwindling here to get anything on there. Is that something that we could?
You just denied the cemetery committee. I would say no.
No, I would.
Well,
Yeah.
well, we may have denied the
And then
cemetery
they were
committee,
talking
but this is a little bit
RFPs, I
more
mean-
for the full town that we gotta get, that we have to get completed before anything else happens.
But I think the point is that there's two pots of money that can likely still be utilized for the remainder of this budget year.
That's what I'm saying, but it's likely, but we don't know that.
Correct. So
You guys
I,
are confusing the budgets way too much. You guys are like way overcomplicating it.
There's two pots right
Everything is
now.
Okay. No, there is not two pots.
There's one pot,
committee,
two committees, one pot.
Right.
You answered my question.
so
Thank
there's some
you.
money right now.
because
So when we ask for a large amount next year.
Yeah.
We pleaded our case.
It's over 10,000 doing RFP.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that's it.
yeah, because well, I was one of the things that I said earlier was that the special town meeting for funding would be for specific pressing needs. Would that fit as a specific pressing need? But I think we should get more information from our treasurer
And I
and
can't honestly say it's so pressing we have to have it now. No.
Right.
It's not an emergency.
Okay.
Because there's
thank
some money to get it started.
We're just gonna we're gonna chug along instead of roll.
Okay, and so we do have to address the next one though, for the request to create an expendable fund account.
Yep.
Yeah, so you're up.
Which,
So that's just basically Bunganut is gonna try to hopefully do some fundraising. We're gonna have a table at the library, and as we go, the land trust people that we met with online, Holly and I, have ways of, I guess there's like a little plethora of people you can go to. There's people that like to just donate their money to do things. Like luckily Acton was someone donated $300,000 for their project. So they do have kind of an understanding of where these people, some of them can be found, or like who to approach and how to do it. If we're able to be the recipient of anyone that just wants to give the park money to revitalize it or have a trail named after them, something like that, we want somewhere that we can put that money that is in a non-lapsing account. And so for any kind of fundraising we do, or if we do get grants that are simple and easy and they just send the check and just do it or whatever, we just need somewhere for that money to go so that we don't have to worry about it going back into the full pot.
Because it's not surplus, it would have a
Correct.
specific.
Correct.
Well, we did one of these for Parks and Rec.
Yep.
for the
Mm.
playground.
Mhm.
Cemetery committee.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to create an expendable fund for the purpose of revitalizing and improving the Bunganut Park located in Lyman, Maine.
Second.
that.
Any discussion on
We can
that?
have it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then the engineering firm piece,
Yep.
is that
Mhm.
part of what we already were like?
This is separate. So this is actually, we're requesting for the money, the 20,000 that was already set aside for Bunganut. We're asking for monies from that to be used for this engineering company coming on the 23rd to go over Bunganut with us and do a walkthrough there and go over the issues we have over there. And so they sent a big report for you guys. They sent that along, which was very nice. We just met with them and just said, we'll do a site. And then if a week later, I got this, which was great. So I sent it to Lindsay. And so here we are. That's basically
so
it.
it's coming out of the Bunganut Park
That was what,
reserve.
20,000?
No, this is only 3,900. Yeah,
Oh,
20,000 was our full budget.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I'm asking. I
Yep.
know, I can see the
Yep.
amount.
Yeah. No, I didn't even know.
I saw it
20,000
earlier.
was our annual that we got.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy enough then. Step in the right direction, but I realized when I saw this table of rates that I don't charge enough money
Yeah.
for what I,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm getting a raise.
So, and this would set us up with almost like the overview, anything for project wise that would be done, of course, and it would go to RFP if it's over $10,000. This is just, they would give us the plans, the specs. They're not going to write the RFPs for us. They're not going to do all the permitting for us. Again, they know we're a municipality and we're going to do as much as we can as a committee. But this gives us an outline. This gives us drawings. This gives us things to go on, to follow, direction finally. And they understand I'm thrilled about the engineer woman that's on here and like some of the things they're part of, both of the women there, the things they have for experience. And they were just looking on Zoom. They were like throwing all these things out. I'm like, they haven't even been there. Oh my crap, they know that. They were just really amazing. I was pretty excited to
I
meet
was
with them.
reading I really liked that those bios are, so what you call them here,
Mhm.
were, that
CP.
they were there. It was it's great information.
Yeah, so I thought they were really professional. Like I said, I had reached out to another company. They didn't get back to me. And these were also, again, recommendations that were given. Both companies were recommendations from York County Soil Water, one of their workers that has worked with them extensively in parks and recreation areas that have been really beneficial. And even their website touts their municipalities, one of the biggest things they service. Any questions?
We're getting together with you on Friday, 3:00.
Yeah, the 23rd at 3:00, Bunganut. We'll start walking around. As the public's welcome to come. We announced that at our meeting too. The only thing we ask is if you have questions, email our committee in advance so we can, it might be something we already discussed with them in the meeting. So that way we're efficient with their time. It's a Friday, so I felt bad planning it for a Friday, but the other day I had hearings. So public's more than welcome to come.
Holly emailed me about my ideas for the steps and drainage and whatnot. And wanted to meet with me before that meeting, and then this week's really tight. 'Cause I'm supposed to go out of town Friday afternoon. So I'm trying to make that work with her. She wanted to tell
Awesome.
me tonight, but I said, no, be in the meeting. I don't want my phone to start ringing.
No, because if she has the information in her head of what you're thinking in your view, and then can match it up with what they're saying,
So
or throw it out there.
even
Yep,
though it's kind of tight, I'm gonna try to draw up a sketch. and
Perfect.
Get it to you guys somehow.
Yep. yeah, because Kevin has some sketches too that he's done. So you might want to get in touch with Kevin. He has somewhere he's drawn some arrows and some squigglies. That's not my
Well, no, I
bailiwick.
looked
I
at
can
that.
proofread.
I looked at it the way the water runs. So I've looked at it. I looked at it when we were doing the shed. Everything flows from all the way from under the top down right down through there.
Our
So-
problem is the overview, which I didn't even see until we had the meeting with him and Kevin pointed out, the water's backwashing from the lake right in from over here between the Y side and the main beach. There's this big black area and you can see it. It looks like someone tried to build berms long ago. They're defunct. So they were able to just see that from the aerial pictures Kevin took.
Oh,
And so Kevin saw that
yeah,
too.
we'll chuck all that stuff.
So
out,
it's
but like I
pretty,
said,
it's pretty like if you can, there's a drive folder with all those pictures in it if you want to see them, all the aerials of the whole area. And then he did it when there was no leaves and the ground was just done thawing. So you can see the dark spots where
I
the
think I
areas
remember when
are.
they were gonna do that. Another thing too, one thing that I don't know if makes a difference or not. Our water table at that time and for the previous year or so too, it was extremely abnormally high.
Yeah.
A normal water table, I don't know exactly how that lands.
It's hard
Yeah,
because
but-
they control the dam
Yeah,
and we have no control over that. The Bonganat Pond Association controls the dam that is owned by them or a person. I'm not sure if it's a person or their
yeah.
association, but the dam that drains the lake and fills it, it's run by them.
There are state dates that's got to be done.
Right, but like as far as the levels and stuff like that, I don't know who monitors it. I don't know if
believe
they
that
keep track of
that's
that.
that should be a state thing also.
Yeah, I hope so, but like I said, I don't know how much they monitor it, so I don't know how they do that. So that's nothing that we can control. But that's it. Thank you.
Water always wants to go to the lake.
It
So what are
does.
you gonna do?
Or the one that goes and they're leaking your roof and you can't find it.
Thank you.
So do we need to?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
So the reserve account is the Bunganut reserve, so you guys would have to motion that amount out of that reserve. If
Make a
you want
motion
to.
that we take $3,935 from the reserve account for Bunganut to be used for Acorn Engineering Inc.
Second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor? Do we still do this last one?
So I'll make a motion to go into executive session for 1 MRSA 405C, discussion regarding the condition or acquisition of real property.
Somebody gonna second it?
I'll second it.
Any discussion on it?
Is there any discussion on it?
Is there?
In the dark as to what it's about. So,
Well, if I told you, it wouldn't be an
Right.
executive
Right.
session,
I
right?
understand that, but I was
So-
expecting someone to be present.
So, no, it's okay. So MMA, the reason is acquisition of real property or economic development, and the citation is 1 MRS 4056C. You know, without going into detail, because otherwise that defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
But I will be joining you in that executive session to apprise you of what that's about.
You ain't done.
Okay?
Out of curiosity.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, just out of curiosity.
All in favor?
Aye.